As we said in the introduction to this module in session 1, the first year focused on you as an individual nurse or student. In year 2, we shift the perspective to structures and systems. That might be an individual NHS trust or the health service as a whole. Of course, our own experiences are important, but no one exists in isolation, and what we experience as our experience is shaped far more than we would think by what we expect and how we've come to interpret what happens around us. And our expectations and habits of interpretation are largely shaped by the groups that we're members of. And there is no better place to explore this than by asking the question, why does poor and even shockingly poor care happen? Some answer this question by blaming bad apples. Maybe you've heard of that kind of talk, but the problem is that it's an individualizing explanation. The rest of the saying is that a bad apple spoils the batch, like the whole ward, or a whole organisation of hundreds of employees. That's starting to sound a bit far-fetched. Another version of this individualising approach to understanding how care is delivered takes the form of the compassion tests you encountered when you applied to become a student nurse. The exposure of poor care, shockingly poor care, at 2 hospitals in Staffordshire led to an inquiry by Robert Francis. Some of its 290 recommendations were aimed at nursing. 5 or 6 of these focus on selection and recruitment, and 1 recommends that universities consider introducing what the report calls an aptitude test to explore candidates' caring and compassion. What do you think about that? Some people, on the other hand, think that even the most caring and well-meaning new nurse or student would find it difficult to keep up high standards working in a toxic environment. Can you think of experiences you have had in particular placements where you have felt a pressure to fit in with ways of working that when you first arrived shocked you? But the Francis report also talked about how leadership in an organisation and the way leaders behave can shape the whole culture. And this could be anything from directors who are obsessed with their reputation to a ward sister who is intimidated by her own line manager. So perhaps a kind of reverse of the bad apple explanation is a more accurate description of what can happen. That even the freshest of apples becomes mouldy if they're left in a barrel whose design is dysfunctional. Look at the second PowerPoint presentation showing student nurses talking about what the word whistleblowing means to them.